Okay, here we are. Harbor Town Marina, Fort Pierce, Florida. Early morning, a little nervous. We're going to do a marine survey and a sea trial on a Gozzard 44. We've been following this boat and looking at it for quite some time, and we are
so excited.
Scared
to death.
Yeah. So anyway, we're going to hop out and go meet the surveyor and make a day of it and find out what this boat's all about. What do you think?
Nervous.
Everybody's getting ready. So this is the Spinnaker. You say there's a storm sail downstairs?
Yeah.
Interested to figure out how the sheets run back.
You probably traction on these. Those down there.
Loving it. Adagio is 50-foot length overall, 14-foot beam weighing in at 30,000 pounds empty. She's quite large. She's got a skeg hung rudder with a well protected 19-inch diameter bronze 3-blade prop. The hull shows in great condition, clean, no delamination, no blisters, bow thruster, stern thruster, all looks good. I was really pleased. I really love this scroll work. Another cool feature is the transom opens up to the water, so you can have access to a dinghy or for swimming. All three sails are on roller furlings with lines leading to the cockpit, which makes single handling a snap. Okay, we're back at the house. Got done with the sea trial and the survey. There's a lot to take in. Didn't get quite enough video. We got so wrapped up in the survey that the video camera went down after the haul out, and so we didn't really get any taking it out in the Intracoastal Waterway and putting the sails up, but we can kind of talk about that. Survey went really good though, and what'd you think?
It was kind of interesting. You know, we were so excited the night before that I think we both woke up at like 5 in the morning and just got up because we were excited. And we didn't have to be to the harbor until 8 o'clock.
Yeah.
Oh, we were there. We were ready. We were excited. Wanted to get it over with. Let's get through this. Let's find out what's wrong with the boat. There's got to be something wrong with the boat.
Yeah, as big a boat as it is, as complicated as the systems, it's got some age on it. We thought surely there'll be issues. Just hopefully there was nothing that was, you know, a deal breaker, because we've looked at a lot of boats. I mentioned earlier that we've looked at this boat. It actually came up for sale over a year and a half ago, and we were watching it. Of course, boats weren't selling real fast, so it was on the internet for a long time. Then the pandemic hit, the 2020 pandemic hit, and a fellow bought the boat. We had already made a decision. This is the boat we got to see. This is probably the boat we want, and that we were going to wait till the next holiday, take a vacation, go to Florida. If it's still for sale, we'll go down there and look at it, maybe buy it, even though it's premature. But if it's meant to be, it's meant to be. And so anyway, it went under contract, and another fellow bought it. And so then we thought, oh, well, it popped back up for sale again. And then it's like, okay, we got to go see boats before we get on this boat.
So we did. We made a weekend of it. We went and saw an Island Packet 420, an Island Packet 40. What was that really fancy boat with all the woodwork?
That was a Panda 38. Wow.
Yeah, the Panda 38.
That was a Taiwanese boat that had just incredible woodwork inside. It was an older boat, but it was beautiful inside. The boat was a little too small for us, but beautiful.
Yeah. And we got on a Morgan 41.
Yeah, we did a day sail on Sarasota Bay on a Morgan 41. Yeah, it was a good sail. Really, we just wanted to feel the big boat. The boat itself was not in the running for something I was looking at, but the size of it and the bay sail was really nice.
So we get to the boat, and we've got the owner there, the captain. We've got the surveyor, and then the surveyor is also training someone. And then the captain brought on a friend just so he had someone on his team, because I'm sure it feels like the new owners and the surveyor, you know, badgering the captain, and he's got to defend everything we find. So he had some backup. Yeah,
it was somebody who also had a boat at that marina, who had experience with the water and the boat, and you know, so he had somebody familiar that could help him getting on and off the dock and getting out in Intracoastal and that kind of thing.
So right away, the surveyor started opening, you name it, he opened it. If it was there, he touched it. And I guess for him, time was money, because he moved very quickly, but thoroughly. And all of a sudden, you're sitting there and you start hearing cabinets and things moving, and it's just so much motion. It's like a tornado going on around you. Me personally, I was starting to get overwhelmed.
Yeah, he went through it quick. He had a camera, and he was opening up everything, taking pictures, rattling off. His assistant was trying to keep up notes, and he was rattling off all the systems, the specs on them. And going through it all quick, because we had a 11 o'clock haul out time. He got started at 8, so we had to have enough time to get the engine warmed up and get the boat around to the haul up. So he had 2.5 hours to dig through everything before we left. And let me tell you what, he went through 2.5 hours worth nonstop, and trying to keep up with him was a lot. It was pretty overwhelming.
Oh yeah, I think you did more of following behind him than I did. I kind of stayed out in the cockpit and talked to the captain and kept him relaxed and comfortable and not overwhelmed, because he is living on this boat. So this boat isn't just a boat he's selling, it's his home, and we're ransacking his home.
Yeah.
So I think the captain got a little nervous about that. Not too bad. So we finally we get through all of the detail work of going through it, and we have to back out of the slip. Actually, we pulled out straight.
Yeah,
We pulled out
the vessel
straight.
was backed into the dock to make it easier to get on and off of the dock, so we just pulled straight out.
This is when we figured out that this particular slip, or what is it, the aisles,
Yeah.
it's not very deep.
Boat was a little large for its slip. That slip was,
oh.
we were definitely maximum size for that slip.
Plus it was low tide.
Yeah.
So when we tried to pull out, I think immediately we got about halfway out, 3/4 of the way out, and we kind of hit mud. And we see that the boat's kicking up mud. And the captain's trying to make the turn, and he's having a little bit of a hard time. There's high winds. He's stuck in the mud a little bit.
Yeah, and that's when it kind of sinks in. This is a big boat. You got to figure out how to manage to get in and out of the dock. And the other thing was the turning area between our slip and the one straight across from us. Just walking it off, it appeared to be about 65 feet, and this boat's 50 feet long. So if you were out in that perpendicular, you know, you're talking about 7 feet on the front and the back, between hitting the boat across and being on your dock, to have to be able to turn. And of course, as you're coming out of your slip, you've got pylons on the very end of your slip. Turn too quick and you whack the back of your boat as you're making that turn out. So that was a lot to take in for somebody who's used to a 25, 26 foot boat.
Yeah. But we got out. We turned the corner, and I think you'll see in the video how we're headed towards the mangroves. And you know, we got turned on around, and eventually, with some challenges, nerve-wracking challenges, we did get over to the haul out area.
Yeah, and the haul out crane, the boat had to be backed onto the crane, you know, backed into a big slip. The straps are in the water, you're backing onto it. There's some wind over there. The captain had trouble again. This is his boat. He still owns the boat, so the surveyor and us and the crew were just on the front end there to assist with dock lines or whatever if needed, but this is his responsibility,
He has
his
to drive.
insurance.
Yep, he has to drive the boat.
So this is all on him, and we're just standing there. You know, I'll be honest, a few times I looked away and it's like, man, I can't watch this. I mean, it was a little nerve-wracking.
I think it took him 3 attempts, and the marina had several guys, at least 4, maybe 5 guys.
Yeah, they had their long boat hooks out, and they're
Yeah,
trying to
trying to
grab
help.
hold of the.
And then eventually they said, "Just shut it down, Captain. Just
Yeah.
shut it down. We'll pull you in."
Yeah, he got the back end on the first strap far enough, and he was trying to maneuver more and wasn't making any progress at all. And they were worried about the strap and the prop. Finally, just told him, "Look, shut it down. We'll get you in here from here. Just quit." So that was pretty nerve-wracking too. Here we go. We've got this boat, and it was hard to maneuver out of the slip. hard to maneuver into the, you know, the crane area slip. It's like, oh my gosh, you know. But with all that being said, this boat's got a bow thruster and a stern thruster that will help in those kind of situations. Takes a little bit of getting used to, you know, working the controls, because you got to take your eyes off of what's going on out front and get down and make sure you're pushing the right buttons at the right time. But I think once you get used to that, it'll be okay. This, in fairness to this captain, he hasn't had the boat very long. I'm not sure he's had it out more than once or twice. So he's just as green at it as we will be. So anyway, that added to our
Stress.
yes, our stress and anxiety. So we got all this information just flying in at us.
Right.
And then we've got this going on. It's like, oh my God, what are we getting into? But then they got the boat lifted up, as you saw in the video, and we went through it, and no surprises. The hull looked great. No blisters. Pretty darn clean. He keeps a diver on it, keeping it clean. Everything looked good underneath. Of course, that's always the worry, because you can't see it till you get it out of the water, and you got to pony up the dough to get it lifted up out of the water to find out what the surprises are. So that was great.
That went well. No complaints.
Surveyor very thorough there. He goes around and taps on the hull, makes sure there's no delamination, checks the rudder supports, the prop, make sure the prop's still true, make sure the shaft's good, the cutlass bearing's good, checks the keel, how it's bolted on. This particular boat has a lead ballast keel bolted on the bottom. One of the good things about that is if you ground, you're grounding with a lead bottom, not a fiberglass bottom. You're not gonna hurt anything. You know, check the thrusters, got on a ladder on the front and the back and checked up high on the sides, and everything was good. We were really pleased with that. So that was, we were probably out of the water for an hour to an hour and a half while they did that. Then they dropped us back in the water, and we boated out to the Intracoastal Waterway. Got out into the waterway, and there's a turning basin out there for these large ships that come in. You know, when they come in off the ocean, and they get in, and they've got to have a place to turn around. Of course, if you're a 300-foot ship or bigger, you've got to have a large area. So we got in that turning basin and pointed the nose into the wind, and then started hoisting sails. So all three sails are on roller furling. We had no idea what kind of shape they were in. First one we let out was the staysail. That's the sail in the middle. It's the smaller one. All lines lead to the back, so the survey actually did it back there. Just pull on a line, it comes right out.
And then we got to hear the magic of the electric winch.
Yeah, there's an electric winch to do that. And so I stood out on deck so I could watch these sails come out and see what kind of shape they're in. It came out, it was in real good shape, no issues. Then we brought the main out, I believe, was next. Of course, it's an in-mast roller. Use electric winch for that. It came out, it was not put back up properly. You have to keep tension on it when you wind the sail back in. If you don't, it tends to fold in, trying to go in and kind of fold on itself and get kind of tight. So it came out with a little bit of trouble, but we got it out and it was in great shape. Could use a little cleaning, but it was in great shape. And then we brought the Genoa out on the front. Look at it some more, maybe a Yankee. I'm not sure how it's cut, but it was huge and it was in great shape, no problems there. And then we turned around and motored back in, and another docking experience.
Oh, this captain.
So he decided, nah, I'm not even going to fool with trying to back into the slip. We're just coming head on, coming on in, and that's what he did.
And we're coming in hot.
Yeah, so anyway, little bit of clunking around, but we got it in and got it tied off. So at that point, the surveyor and his assistant and the captain and Amanda and I sat down in the cockpit and wanted to go over some of the things that we'd found. Now everything was minor, okay? But
rusted hose clamps.
Yeah, it's rusted hose clamps. We had a temperature gauge on the engine that wasn't working, even though we did have an infrared thermometer so we could check temperature down at the engine itself.
Small leak under the kitchen sink.
Yeah, a water line on the water filter was dripping. The windlass didn't work, which that was our biggest thing was, hey, windlass is not working. You can't really leave the dock without the ability to drop and raise an anchor. And so we talked about it all. The surveyor asked us a few questions, wanted to know what we thought. Did we think we'd be happy? And he said it was definitely a blue water boat, well built, and he thought we'd be happy with it. He thought it was a great boat. Mm-hmm. And so at that point...
But needless to say, at that point, I am just sick to my stomach. I am so full of nerves.
Yeah.
I have completely shut down. David keeps looking at me and going, are you okay? Are you sure you're okay?
I was feeling the same way, just not quite as strong. I was like, man, what? I mean, you got to realize, a boat is it's a luxury. It's a toy. Mm-hmm. Okay, now
it's an expensive toy.
This is big time expense for us. And so you add all that plus, the hardships of getting it on and off the dock, and then all the information we tried to take in a 6-hour period. Mm-hmm. We're pretty shot, emotionally distraught. Mm-hmm. And so at that point, the surveyor, presented his bill, and so at that point we took the opportunity to tuck and run. We ran. We got to go with him and pay him. And we split.
We left very quickly. We got the surveyor paid, and then of course David looks at me and is like, "What do you need?" And I'm like, I need a Coke.
Yeah.
I need sugar and caffeine.
Yeah. So we decided we wouldn't engage with the boat owner. We would go on and shoot him a text later till we could calm our nerves down. So we went and did a few things and kind of talked it over a bit and settled down. And then Amanda texted him later and said, "Hey, can we come back in the morning and chat?"
And he was amenable to that.
So the next morning, how'd you feel?
I was much more relaxed the next morning. I was nervous. We did have a couple things we wanted him to fix. He had already made it clear he was not going to negotiate on price. But he had also said that this boat was ready to go. What were the few things we found?
The windlass was a big one. I mean, who knows if that was just going to be a corrosion on a wire somewhere or what, or a switch or a solenoid. We didn't know what was wrong. We didn't figure it was major. But hey, that needs to be working.
Yep.
And then the engine temperature gauge needs to be working. I don't want to take a boat out with an engine that I can't tell if it's overheated or not. So I need those two things fixed.
Yep. So that was our goal when we sat down with the captain, and he was shockingly agreeable. He said he'd take care of it.
Yeah, he'd already said he'd put the word out to the guys he used that, hey, we need to get a couple things fixed, so he'd already started the process, which was nice. And so we went ahead and finalized the next step of the contract, and hey, we're buying a boat.
Oh.
So anyway, we're pretty excited. We're pretty stoked. We love the boat. As far as the feel of it,
oh yeah.
I mean, the stability, the comfort of it. I mean,
Well, you know this. We're coming from a Hunter 260. What's the comfort ratio on the Hunter?
I don't know, 17 maybe.
Okay, what's
higher the number the better. This one's 31 and a half, 32.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, like the Hunter weighed in at about 5,000 pounds. So 5,000 pounds is fairly heavy with a car, but on a sailboat, no. This one weighs in at 30,000 pounds empty. You start putting 100 gallons of fuel, 200 gallons of water. You got a holding tank that'll hold 50 something. Then you throw all your gear in there. Yeah, this thing's going to be 34,000 pounds. She's hefty.
Yep.
She's hefty.
She's going to be stable.
So even though the swells will make us roll out there, it's not going to get tossed around. It's going to take a lot of wind. Whereas we were nail biting and uncomfortable in the Hunter. This was going to be.
Well, you say that.
This was going to be.
I was the
smiling.
one that was horribly uncomfortable and, squeezing his leg, and he's over there going, we're fine, we're fine.
But with this one, when the winds pick up and the chop and the whitecaps, this one's just going to smile, and we're just going to kick back and say, oh, I didn't even notice. Are there whitecaps?
I can't wait.
So anyway, we're pretty excited, and we'll fill you in as it goes. We can't wait to get on board, get it cleaned up, bounce off the dock a couple times on the way out and see how she does, and see if we can get back in without too many bruises and dings. So
Yep, we're excited to share all of this with you guys.